The nature of work is different in a corporate environment than it is in an entrepreneurial environment. And if you're using the strategic relationship tools, there's some important factors to consider. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. If you want greater prosperity and influence and control in your own life, then you must understand that your environment contributes to both your happiness and your satisfaction in that kind of contribution. Most everybody who's subscribers, they want to contribute. They want to deliver value. They want to do something that they can look back on and value what they've done. Now, it's a little bit different in a corporate environment because workload is not regulated by market conditions. So let me give you the background on this. If you work for a department who's understaffed, they're more likely to double up on the amount of work that each individual does than to stop taking on work. See, in an entrepreneurial environment, if your company is very busy, you can increase prices to reduce demand. So you have this demand curve, and you can actually adjust to the point when you should not be doing any work. So that adjustment is if you have a certain volume of work and it's not going to be profitable to do, you can decide not to do it. If you're in a corporate environment and you have a boss and it's not profitable for you to do the work, you either go find yourself another job or you do what you can do. Now, using strategic relationship principles, we understand the conditions and relationships between activities in that environment. So we can model it. We can say, okay, I'm a employee in a corporation and we have this many labor units or man hours necessary, but there's only this many people. That shows me that we're going to be overloaded. And then you can do what's called a cost benefit analysis. Hey, I'm going to be overloaded in work and that's going to take away from family. That's going to take away from other goals and objectives. Therefore, I will either find a new opportunity or I'll voice my concern, or I'll focus on most important work so you can actually adjust the composition of work. Ultimately, your employer controls your salary, but you can control your time. There might even be a condition where you have back-to-back meetings, where you come in early in the week and you negotiate gaps. So you block out time on your calendar and you negotiate gaps, because if you're meeting all the damn time, when do you have time to actually do the work? So strategic relations, the concepts that we're looking at, separates you from the workplace or the activity that you're doing, separates you from whether you're an employee or an entrepreneur, and gives you decision-making power within your own life decisions. So maybe you're doing very fulfilling work and you're doing it in a corporate environment, but it's demanding 70 hours a week from you. And it's digging into your family life because you also have things like cleaning the house and doing dishes and washing laundry. And rather than imposing that work on someone else in your family, of course, you can always talk about balance. Somebody else in your family might enjoy doing that work, and they may find it a beneficial or educational experience. For example, if your kids are doing the laundry or cleaning the house, these are all skills they're going to need as an adult. You can also decide to hire out this type of work, because there are people in your marketplace who would love to be doing your laundry. In fact, when I lived in Norfolk, Virginia, I used to drop my laundry off at a laundry service, and it was probably the best 10 minutes of my day. I would drop it off in the morning. I'd chat a little bit with the folks that are there because they're real nice, friendly people. And then in the evening, I would come and pick up the laundry again. And I'd chat with them again. Different people, but they're just as interesting and fun. So I turned what would normally be probably 2 hours of laundry. That includes folding. I might watch a show or something while I'm doing it. It wasn't hard work, but when the demands of my financial employment were higher than my ability or time available to do the laundry, I found that outsourcing the laundry had benefits. And so overall, what I gained was the ability to do the work I enjoy, but I gave up some of the income from that work in order to have someone else do something that wasn't as enjoyable or wasn't as valuable for me to be doing. Now, this is very important. When you outsource mowing the grass, you outsource housekeeping, you outsource even cooking. I had a friend who basically had some dietary needs and hired a chef who came in twice a week to prepare meals that fit within his dietary needs, but also that saved him a tremendous amount of time because this person went to the grocery store, they prepared the meals, they froze the meals, and he basically had a refrigerator full of what he was going to eat. It was like Weight Watchers that showed up at your house. My point being, though, is that the value of the work is neutral. Work that is the laundry has to get done. The house needs to be cleaned. That's the neutral part. Who does the work is where choices can become. So you might be in a workplace where you're overloaded, but you're moving towards that promotion. You've done analysis of the situation. You're doing important work for the objectives of that group. But in your household, you're looking to spend more time with your family. So in order to spend more time with family, you got to, unless the family's going to be working on the chores with you, which is the ideal situation, you've got to start outsourcing some of these chores. You hire landscapers. You hire, people to do maintenance on your home rather than trying to do the maintenance on for yourself. There's activities you can do where you're trading off balance. The core of this is you decide. You become the master of your destiny by setting clear goals, by setting up your approach to how you're going to distribute labor, and then looking for opportunities. I've got his brother was mowing my grass, and now I got the younger brother mowing my grass. And I think the older brother mowed my grass for 5 years. And he did a great, incredible job. The younger brother's still learning, but ultimately, I'm not mowing my grass. So I pay a kid down the street to mow the grass. He gains experience. He gains opportunity, meaning the money is able to do the things that he wants to do. And he trades out, I think it takes him 45 minutes, 90 minutes at the most to mow the grass and do everything that needs to be done. If I was doing the work, it'd take me the same amount of time. Okay, so I'm not gaining any efficiency in time except the fact that I'm not having to do the work, and it gets done more consistently. It gets done more regularly. It is worth every penny I'm investing in this kid's future, and I'm investing in this kid's current bank account. And so this is really what I want to get at. When you're in a corporate environment, we don't have the market conditions. Okay, you need to add the market conditions. If you're overworked, if you're overwhelmed, and you take this thinking time, you can say to yourself, look, they're not paying me enough to bust my ass to do this, so I will. Okay, so this is the second part, because you can bitch all day long and nothing will happen. So I will find a new opportunity. I'll ask my manager for a promotion. I'll ask about work distribution and how we can realign work. I'll do it in such a way that is strategic, because you can't just go in and, if everybody on the team is overwhelmed, you can't just go in and say, I'm overwhelmed, I like to be less overwhelmed, because that implies you're going to give everybody else your work. You have to come in with solutions, and we talk about that in other programs. It's the problem statement. Hey, since we've lost a couple people, work's doubled up for everybody. What I'm proposing is that we prioritize the work activities and we focus on getting the most important things done. And if something doesn't get done, it's going to be a least important thing. Hey, can we make more clarity around our roles so that we can focus in on the primary objective of our group, and we can start finding others to take care of the other objectives, or we can hire somebody junior. So in a corporate environment, you got to bring that up to your manager. In an entrepreneurial environment, you're going to bring that up to your customers. Hey, customers, we've been overwhelmed because demand is so strong and we'd like to hire more people, but we want to make sure that we can continue to provide the quality that we have for our current customers. So you start doing backlogs and waiting lists. You start raising prices. You start doing longer term contracts so that you can hire employees. How do you know the backlog isn't just temporary? So again, that's the modeling and decision making that happens on an entrepreneurial side. Now, when you're using strategic relations in your own household, you sit down with your family and you say, look, these are the things that need to get done. We can simplify, we can optimize, we can delegate, we can learn new skills, we can improve our activities, we can spend less time doing low value activities. But when you involve everybody in that decision, you gain buy-in and better continuity in your familiar group, your family group, your inner circle group. You may look into your community. Maybe you know somebody who just opened a landscaping company and you want to basically leverage their services, help your friend out, and ultimately reduce the amount of work that you've got to do day to day. See, it's about decisions, and it's about looking at the relationship between activities. Not complaining, not frustrated, not worried. You're neutral to the environment around you and focused on the goals and outcomes that you desire. And you adjust your environment, or you negotiate with your environment, or you work with your environment, or you change your environment so that it fits, form, and function the outcomes that you desire. So I know this has been kind of a different way of looking at things. It's a little bit more abstract, and it sets up decisive actions. So you might look at your work situation and decide there's nothing I can do about it. Well, there's never nothing you can do about it. But if you don't know what you want and you're not willing to look at your life a little bit differently, that introspection, then you're not going to be able to shift. You're not going to be able to overcome obstacles. You're not going to be able to move to the next level. Now, I know you're a different type of person because you've invested the time to listen to this program. And if you'd like more content like this, I'd like you to visit www.insidestrategicrelations.com. I have a newsletter there that's going to save you time, effort, and resources, and give you more control over your professional life. It'll help you accelerate in a high-income profession or in a leadership position so that you can outpace inflation, you can outpace the constant changes in a workplace and environment, and you'll be the most agile individual to continue towards your family's goals and objectives. Now, I say your family's goals and objectives because everything we've talked about today in the podcast is about making decisions for your inner circle and for your closest relationships. These are the things. If you are isolated and you have no connections to the outside world, then it really doesn't matter what you're doing. Okay? You could be completely hedonistic and it doesn't really matter what you're doing, but it will impact those beyond you. So you might as well deliberately impact those people in a positive and beneficial way. So this newsletter, Inside Strategic Relations, delivers on those methods and tactics and approaches, just like we described here on the podcast, except we can go into a little bit more intimate detail because you're a member of what we're providing and moving forward with. But even today, in today's conversation, you do have choice. You might be feeling, hey, I'm making all this money, yet I have very little free time. Well, how do you increase free time? We talked about it here. It is that understanding, that stratification of what you're doing, and that opportunity to lift up others through involving them in the outcomes that you desire. I know it sounds selfish, but I don't have time to go into it right now. If you have any questions about what we've talked about today, visit www.insidestrategicrelations.com. Go to the little contact page and then fax or mail me some kind of question. Just write down your question, okay? I'm not on social media. I'm not on all these different platforms. I will not see your question unless you fax or mail it to me, and then I'll be more than happy to answer your question in detail in a podcast, in a letter back to you, or in a format that would be accessible to your individual situation. The bottom line is, folks, is that you can transform business relationships into profits guaranteed. Those profits go far beyond just monetary, and they are guaranteed profits when you have this mental approach to transforming your world. I want to thank you for listening. Again, I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. I'm looking forward to seeing your questions.